Alright guys, so welcome to part 2 of building a project management system with Django and AdminLTE. So if you thought part 1 was exciting, get ready because in part 2 we're going to be slowly stepping up. So in this part, we're going to be diving deeper into the core functionalities of SwiftHub. So we're going to create a robust notification app that is going to ensure that users stay informed in real time. We're also going to create a custom model manager for our notification, task, and then project app that is going to streamline the backend process. Then we're also going to make sure that our user that send notification also have profile pictures associated with them. And finally, we're going to wrap things up by working on this forecast, giving you a quick glance of your project and key matrices when you visit the system. So you can find the code to part 2 just here. You can see I just pushed the code to part 2. So when you click here, you can come to SwiftHub part 2, click on that, and you're going to get the code to part 2 right here. So without wasting much time, let's start by creating our notification app. Alright guys, so now let's create our notifications app. So I'm gonna bring up my integrated terminal and I'm just gonna write this command to create an app. So I'm gonna say python manage.py start app, and we're gonna start the notifications app. We're gonna start the notifications app like this. So we wait and notification actually gets created over here. So from here, the next thing is to go into our SwiftHub, go to settings, and now we need to register notifications app right here. So I'm gonna bring this single quote and say notifications like this, and then save changes. Now I could close my settings. And now I'm going to go into the notifications model. So now what we essentially going to be doing is to create a notification model that is going to track and store notifications for users on SwiftHub. So notification essentially is going to be an action. It's going to represent an action that is performed by one user. So this user is going to be called actor, and then the action is now of interest to another user, and that user is going to be called a recipient. So now let's go ahead and then start creating or structuring our model. So I'm going to create a class, and this class is going to be called notification. And now it's going to inherit from models like .model like this. Now that we have created this, we're going to have a recipient. So this is going to be the person who is going to receive the notification, and we're going to say models dot foreign key. So this is actually going to be pointing to the user model. So now we need to import user. So we're going to say from django.contrib.auth.models. Now we need to import user like that. And now that we have user imported, we can go ahead and then continue building our model. So we're going to say when this user is deleted, we want to delete the notifications of this user as well. So models.cascade. And also, if we query for a user, we want to be able to do that user dot notifications to get all notifications by this person. So we do related name, and we're going to call the related name notification. So we do that user dot notification. All right, so now that we have done this, let me zoom out a little bit and bring my sidebar. All right, so from here, we also gonna want to get the actor. So this is the person initiating the notification. So I'm gonna come here, copy, and then paste it right here. And I'm gonna do actor. So this actor is gonna have a foreign key to the user model. And when the actor is deleted, we also want to delete all actions performed by this person. And the related name is gonna be actions like this. All right, so from there we also want to get the verb. So the verb is actually going to be like the action that the person has actually performed. So it's going to be like maybe the person liked or the person posted, the person did something like that. So that is what we're going to be doing. So you say models dot, then we're going to take it as a car field. And here we're going to have max underscore length is going to be 255 right there. From there, we also want to take the content type. So we're going to say content underscore type. So the content type is part of Django's content type framework, and it allows the notification to reference any model in our application. So we're going to say content type, and we're going to be models dot foreign key, and it's going to have a foreign key to the content type. So now we need to import content type. Sorry about that. Like this. So now we need to import content type. So we're going to say from Django dot contrib dot content types dot models. You're gonna import, and you're gonna import content type like that. So now we have content type. We are referencing it here. It's gonna be a foreign key to the content type. And what we're gonna be doing is that when the content type is deleted, we also want to delete everything right here. So on delete is gonna be models dot cascade. So we're gonna say models dot cascade like this. Now that we have had this, we also want to go ahead and then say object underscore id is going to be, so that is going to be models dot car field, and it's actually going to store the id of the object we want to reference. So it's going to have max underscore length, and it's going to be 255. All right, so now we want to have content underscore object. So what we essentially doing is we want to have access to the actual object that is connected or that is associated with the notification. So it's actually going to help us use content type and then the content object ID to get hold of this. All right, so that will be a generic foreign key, generic foreign key like this, and it's actually going to be picking our content type like this. So we're going to have the content type here, and we're also going to have the object ID. It's going to use a combination of these two to get our content object or the object that is associated with the notification. And then from there, we also want to get when this notification is created. So you say created at, and the created at is going to be models.date time field. Okay, so now that we have the notification created time, we're also going to have the read. So whether the notification is opened or whether the notification has been read or not, and that is going to be models.boolean field. And the default is going to be false. So by default, the notification is not opened. So now that we have this, I'm going to define my danda str like that, and I'm just going to use f string right here. So f. Okay, so what we want to be displaying is going to be first, we want to display the actor. So we say solve.actor like this, and we bring a space, and we're going to have solve.verb. And then the last one, we bring a space and say solve.content underscore object right here. So we want to return the name of the person who is actually sending the notification. So we say maybe Gentech, and then the verb is going to be maybe posted, and the person may be posted on this particular object, or it could be Gentech liked this particular post. Or okay, that's essentially what we want to do. So at this point, I'm gonna save changes and then make migrations here. So I'm gonna say python money.py make migrations. We wait for migrations to be created. All right, so it's saying we have not imported generate foreign key, and that's true. So I'm gonna say from Django dot contrib dot content types dot fields, you're gonna import, and you're gonna import generic foreign key right here. So now that we have generic foreign key imported, so let me make migrations. Python dot py make migrations, and we now migrate. Python money.py migrate. So now we can write the changes to our database. So right after this, I'm gonna see if my terminal is actually running, and it doesn't seem like we have any error. So I'm just gonna refresh and go back to the admin part. So 127 admin right here. And now we have to log in. So I'm gonna log in with my credentials, Gentech right here. And now we are in the administrative dashboard, but we need to now register this application or this model with our admin. So I'm gonna come here and say from dot models, we're gonna import, and now we are gonna import notification. So now that we have notification imported, we need to register this notification. So we say admin dot site dot register, and now we're gonna register notifications like that. So I'm gonna save changes and then go back to our browser, refresh, and now we see notifications here. So all right, so guys, let's make a couple of notifications. So the recipient at this point is gonna be, let's say, Haida, and then the actor is gonna be Gentech myself, and then the verb is going to be okay. So we say this person has been added to a new project and is going to be on the project model. So the object ID, that means we will have to go into projects. So I'm gonna right click, go here, and then get one of the projects. Pick the ID of this particular project to this part, and then I'm gonna come to this part and then paste it right here. So this, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and the notification is not red. All right, so let me add another notification, and this time around, this notification is gonna be coming from Haida, and now the notification is gonna be coming from the recipient is actually gonna be Gentech, and then the actor is gonna be Haida, and the verb is gonna be, let me get something that actually makes sense. We're gonna get one of the projects, like create this is actually the project we are now talking of, and we're gonna say this project is due soon. So let's say this is a notification that is coming, and now we're gonna say the content type is gonna be on project, and then the ID. So I'm gonna pick the ID of this. So that means we have about 2 or 3 notifications coming on this particular project. So I'm gonna set this and then click on save. So now that we have this, I want to go to accounts and open my view. So now we need to get hold of the notification. So I'm gonna come here and import. So we're gonna say from notifications.models. So we're gonna import notification like this. And now that we have imported notification, I could just come here and say latest underscore notification, and the latest notification is going to be, so here we could say notification dot objects dot all. So that means you are getting all the notification in the system. That is not what we are going to be doing for long term, but now I need to get some notification onto the dashboard. So at this point, I'm gonna have to add this notification to our context. So we say context bring my square bracket like this, and then I'm gonna say latest. So I'm gonna come here and then copy this latest notification like this, and that is also going to be equal to the latest notification. So I'm now going to go on to the dashboard.html and then search for notifications. So inside the notifications here, this is where we are showing our notifications. So I'm going to scroll up. I think it is going to be at the top. It is going to start from the top here. So let me go to our system dashboard, and now you are seeing notifications right here. Okay, so this is what we want to loop over. So we have two notifications hard coded into the template. So I'm gonna scroll down and get the first notification, and this is the second one. So I only need one to loop over it. So I'm gonna cut. Okay, even delete this one, save changes, refresh to see if the template is actually working. So now we only have one notification left. So I'm gonna come to the notification we have and use a for loop. So I'm just gonna say for. So we're gonna say notification. That is we getting one of the notification, and so for notification in, then I'm just gonna come into the template, and now we are saying latest notification. So I'm gonna come here and then copy that and paste it over here. Then I'm just gonna cut the end of the for loop and close it right here. So now the notification is actually having a verb and then a time. So here we could do, and now we're gonna have notification dot created at. So that is going to be when the notification was created. Okay, so now that we have had the notification dot created at, the next thing is gonna be the notification verb. So that is gonna be notification dot verb, and that is gonna be the verb. So I'm gonna save it and then refresh the page. So when we refresh the page, we are having added a new project. So when you come here, we have the first notification. When you click on it, the verb is going to be added a new project, and then the next one is going to be created a vSIMS front end. So sorry, create vSIMS front, and that is going to be the name of the project. Is due soon. All right, guys, there's something that I actually noticed, and when you come to the model name, we want it to be notification, and that's not how notification is spelled. So I'm gonna say notification like this, and I'm also gonna have to come here and make notification, and here I also have to copy this and then paste it right here. And we also went ahead and then imported notification here. So I'm gonna make changes to all, but one important step is to make migrations again. So I'm gonna come here and then make migrations. So make migrations, and yes, we want to rename it, and then the migration has been made. Then the next thing is to write the changes. Python manage the py migrate. So you're gonna migrate like this, and now everything should be okay. All right, so at this point we want to order our notification from the latest. So we're gonna want to have the latest notification to be at the top, and then the last ones will be at the bottom. So we did that in one of our videos. So I'm just gonna collapse this and then go to project. So open project models right here, and inside the project model we did this class meta on the model. So I'm gonna come to notification models right here, and then right underneath the dunder str, I'm gonna paste this one. So we are saying class meta, and then the ordering is gonna be on the created at date, and it's gonna be from the descending to ascending. So if I should take out the negative, then it's gonna be from ascending to descending. So that is going to have no effect on the model right now. It's not going to have no effect on the ordering. But if I should bring the negative, now we are telling Django to go for the latest ones first. So I'm going to save it And then when I refresh the page, now we are seeing this one's first. So this one was at 3:23 a.m. and this one was 3:26 a.m. So if I should refresh, the 3:26 should come at the top. All right, guys. So in this video, we wanna display our notification timestamp in a user-friendly format. By default, Django's datetime format can be a little bit verbose and not so intuitive for users. So what we want to do is to create a custom model, and this model is going to convert this raw timestamp into a readable and neat style, like what the templates offer. So I'm going to go onto my dashboard here, and then I'm going to open the template. So I'm going to double click, and when I scroll down, you're going to realize that the date or the notification timestamp here is of this format, and that is what we want to actually create or display than what we have right here. All right, so to do that, I'm going to have to create a model function right here. So I'm just going to use a property to like this, and then the name of the function, we're going to say def, we're going to define the function and give it a name. So the name, I'm just going to give it notification underscore time underscore formatted. That is descriptive, and it's going to take soft like this. All right, so now that we have had this, we're going to return, and what we are going to be returning is going to be soft dot created as. So we want to get the created at date dot strf time, and now we want to provide a format. So the format we want to provide is, we want to do percentage d, that is going to be the date, and then the next one is going to be the abbreviation of the month, so percentage b. We also want to get the hour in 12-hour clock, so we're going to do this and then capital I. From there, we also want to get the minute, so we do M, and finally we also want to get if it is AM or PM, and now we do this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna copy the save changes, go on to my, let me close these because I don't need them. Go onto my dashboard, and where we are showing notification dot created that, now we could do notification dot and then our custom model function. So I'm gonna come here, save changes, and then let me check if there is no error. And good, there is no error. So I'm gonna refresh, and now this should be changed to the format of the template, like what you have actually on the template right here. All right, guys, so now I just want to close some of these things, so I don't think, okay, so I don't think I need the project models, and okay, for this one I'm going to need it. Okay, so at this point, what we want to be doing is I'm going to go back to my views for the dashboard, and looking at it, we are making notification.objects.all. So when I come here, I'm getting all the notifications in the system, and that's not what we want. We want to get notification that actually we are the recipient of this notification. So now, instead of doing notification.objects.all, what I could be doing is notification.objects. Then I'm just gonna filter, and what I'm filtering by is I'm gonna go to the models here, and on the models recipient, so this is going to be the person who is actually receiving the notification. All right, so here dot filter notification dot objects dot filter, and inside here I'm gonna say recipient. So I'm just gonna copy the recipient, and the recipient is gonna be equal to request dot user. That is the logged in user. So whoever has logged in into the system, she will be the recipient. So I'm just gonna save it, and before I even refresh, notice the number of notifications we have here, 1 and then 2, but now when I refresh, I'm getting 1 notification. That is because in the dashboard it is only 1 notification that belongs to Gentech. So when I come here, you're gonna realize that, let me go to this place. When I come to this one, not this one, But when I come to this one, you're gonna realize that here the recipient is Gentech. All right, but for the first notification, the recipient wasn't Gentech, so I could now even make the recipient Gentech right here, and then the actor is gonna go to a different person. And now when I come back here and refresh, I'm supposed to get two notification, and now I'm getting two notification. So we also want to change the number right here, so to reflect what we have inside here. So I'm just gonna copy this notification context right here, paste it underneath, and I'm gonna do notifications underscore count like this. I'm gonna make it notification count, and then it's gonna be the latest notification dot count right here, counts right here. So I'm just gonna go and then backspace like this and copy this, make save changes, and then come to where we are showing the notification. Okay, so at this place we have three, and that is the number of notifications we are showing right here. So I'm gonna come there and then delete it, but then I'm just gonna pick it from the context. So you're gonna have notification counts like this, and then close it. So now when I do save changes and then refresh, it's actually going to reflect what we have in our database, and it's now 2. All right. And we also want to show only 3 notifications, because when you come to the templates, okay, so the template, they are showing only 3 notifications. The original template, they were showing only 3 notifications. So we want to display only 3 notifications on the dashboard here. So I'm just going to come to this place, and then I'm just gonna slice and then pick only 3 notifications at this point. So if we have more notifications than 3, it's just gonna pick only 3 of the notifications. So when I refresh, it's actually not gonna do a whole lot because we only have 2 notifications. All right, so the purpose of this video is to create a custom model manager, notification manager, that is going to help us to make complex queries. So by default, Django comes with a model manager, and that is the object. So that's why we are able to do notification.objects.filter, tags.objects.or. That is how we are able to query our database. But what we're going to be doing is to write complex queries, and these complex queries, we're going to make them into a model manager where we can reuse them at all time. So to do that, I'm gonna come to the top here and just clear this off. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is to define a class. So this class, I'm just gonna call it notifications manager. Notification manager, just like this. And it's gonna inherit from models dot manager like this. So now that we have this, what we want to do is to be able to get a notification for a single person or the logged in user. Here we did dot filter on the dashboard view, but what we want to do is to control everything from the notification. So we're going to define a function, and we are going to call it for underscore user, and that is going to be all notifications for a specific or a logged in user. So we're going to pass in self, and from there we're also going to pass in the user we want to pick the notification for, and here we're going to return. So what we're going to be returning is to come back to our function here, and we did that filter, and we filter to get the logged in user like this. So I'm going to come here and do return. So you're going to return self.filter, and the recipient is going to be the user we have passed right here, because here we don't have access to request like this. So now that we have done this, I'm going to come down to this part and say register the manager, the model manager like this. So we're going to do objects. We're going to do objects like this. That is going to add it to the Django model manager objects, and we're going to call the notification manager like that. All right, so now that we have done this, I'm going to go into I'm just gonna go here, and instead of doing notification.objects.filter, and we were just filtering by this, I'm now gonna do notification.objects.for underscore user, like what you have right here, dot for user. And now we need to pass the user. So the user is actually going to be request.user. So this is the modification we have done. I'm going to refresh the page and hopefully everything should work. And still we are getting the same notification. All right. We also want to get the notification of the user that is not read. So we want to be able to separate the notification that has been read from notification that has not been read. So I'm going to define another model manager here, another function here, and I'm going to call it on read. So these are the notifications that has not been read on read, like that. So notification that has not been read, and we're going to pass self, and we're also going to pass user right here. And now that we have this, we're going to return. So we are going to return. So instead of returning self.filter, now we are going to do self dot. And what we are going to do is to get this for user function right here, dot for user. And now we need to pass the user right here. The user that is going to be passed is now being passed to this part. And now we're going to do dot filter again, and what we are going to be filtering by is red is equal to false. So inside our notification model, we said by default red is going to be false. So we're going to pick all notification that belongs to the logged in user or the passed user, the user that has been passed to the dot for user function. And then we're going to pick only ones that are the red is equal to false. Then I'm going to copy this same and define another function, and that is going to be red. Okay, so these are the notifications that has been read by the user. So we are going to do the same thing, but it's equal to false. We're going to do red is equal to true. So these are the notifications that has been read by this user. So here at this point, we now have queries like getting notification for a specific user, getting a notification of that same user that is read, and notification that has not been read. And now throughout our application, wherever we want to show this information, we can use notification.object.forUser or notification.object.read or unread. That is how we are going to do it. And guys, I'm just going to see you in the next video. All right, guys, so welcome back. So if you take a look at the notification, we are now seeing that the notification seem to be coming from the system itself, because the logo we have here or the image we have here is the same thing that we have right here, and that's because we actually had coding the images right there. So let me go into the dashboard and go to where we are showing the notification for, and we are displaying this logo right here. That's not what we want. We want to have the users, the actors. We actually want to have the notification in a way that the actors are actually going to have the images display, much like what we see right at this part. So what I'm going to be doing at this point is to get the notification, the image, the profile picture of the actor. All right, so there are a couple of ways you can go about doing this, and we are going to explore the two, and we are also going to pick the most ideal way. So I'm going to bring up my terminal like this and enter into the Python shell. So I'm going to do Python money.py shell. Okay. Okay, so now that we are inside the shell, we want to import user. So we're going to say from Django.contrib auth the models import user. And now that we have user imported, we're also going to import our profile. So we'll say from accounts.models imports, and we're going to import profile like that. And we also need one more thing. We're going to say from Django dot shortcut imports, and we're going to import gets underscore object or 404 like this. Okay, so now that we have imported all these things, we're going to define a user object. So we're going to say user underscore object. So we want to get a user, and that is going to be user dot objects dot get, and we are actually going to get a user with a username of username is equal to, and I'm going to pass my own username, that is Gentech, and I'm just going to close it like this. Okay, so now when I do user underscore obj, we are getting Gentech. All right, so now that we have actually gotten the Gentech, the next thing we want to do is to get a profile object. So you say profile underscore object, and that is going to be get object or 404. So we get underscore object or 404, and that is actually going to pick the profile model, and then the user is going to be, so when you come into the profile model right here, when we come into the accounts and then go into the profile model, we have user. So we are going to say that this user is going to be, so we say user is equal to our user underscore obj like this. Okay, then I'll close it. So now when I do profile underscore obj, we are getting Gentech, and this is a profile instance. All right, so now that we have the profile instance, I could do profile picture, or let's say image is equal to, so now at this point, now that we have queried to get the profile object, we need to get the profile picture. That is going to be profile underscore obj dot. So when you come into the profile model, we have a function call. So profile model, we have a function call get profile picture URL. So we could now do, let me copy that right here, and then when you come into the terminal, we could now do get profile URL like that. And now when I do image, it's going to give us the image right here. So this is one of the ways we could do to get a profile picture of any user. So we first of all need to import the user model right here. From django.contrib.all.models, we import user, and then we also import the profile, and we import another function from shortcut, that is get object or 404, and now we can query for the user. That will be the logged in user, or whichever user we want to get the profile picture. So we get a user, and now that we have gotten the user, we also need to pass that user to the profile model to get the profile object. And now that we have gotten the profile object, we could now have access to the profile model functions, and then we can now do profile object dot profile picture, and that is going to give us a profile picture. But now notice the process is quite long. This is one of the ways, and then the next way we could do that is what we're going to be sticking with, is going to be, it's actually going to be putting a related name right here. So we're going to do related underscore name is going to be profile. So we're going to put profile here. So that is to say that when we get a user object, we can do dot profile. So the user, if it is user one, we could do user one dot profile, and that is actually going to put us into the profile model. And once we are in the profile model, we can use all the methods that are available to the profile model. So let me save changes, and here I'm just going to exit like this. Sorry about that. So I just want to exit like this. And now that I'm out of the interactive shell, I can do Python money.py make migrations like this, and Python money.py migrate. And then we have now written the changes into our database. Now that we have this on the model, what we could do is to now come back into the interactive shell again. So I'm going to do Python money.py shell, and look at how simple this one is going to be. First of all, we need to import the Django user model. So we're going to say from django.contrib.models import, and we're going to import user like this. And now that we have imported the user, we could do user underscore obj, much like what we did at the beginning. Is going to be user.objects.get, and now we are going to get where the username is equal to a particular user. And in my case, it's going to be Gentech like this, but it has to be a user inside the system. Oh, sorry. So it has to be objects, not object. Objects. Okay. So now that we have user underscore obj, so this user actually exists. No more need to import profile. There's no need to also import another method, get object or full form. But directly we could do image, and then the image is actually now going to be user underscore obj. So that is going to be the user, and dot profile. So now when you go into the accounts, we have, when you get a user, you can do a profile. So that is what we are doing. Dot profile dot, and that is actually going to put us into this to get us, and that is actually going to help us get access to this method. And now that we have access to this method, we could do the profile dot image URL like this, and now we could do image, and just like that. So if you compare this one to the first one we did about 3 different import, and we need to get a user object, and we also needed to get the profile object. And then that time that we have had a profile object, we were able to do dot profile picture URL. But with this case, we only need to get the user, import the user. And now that we have imported the user, we only needed to get a user. And once we have the user, we could get access to all the methods like that. So this is what we're going to be using. So I'm going to go into my dashboard template, and where we are displaying the profile picture, I'm just going to delete all this right here. And now I will be doing notification dot, and inside the notification we have actor, so that is the person sending the notification. So notification dot actor, so you're gonna have actor right here dot. So when we have the actor, you're gonna get the profile dot profile like this. So the profile is actually coming from this one, and when we are in the profile, we can now get access to the profile picture URL. It's just like that, dot profile picture URL. And now I'm gonna save changes, and hopefully we should get the profile pictures of these people. And that is it. So here we are getting the profile picture of this person, but this person has no profile picture. This actor Ryan is not having a profile picture. So I'm gonna go in, and let me even check the notification, added a new project. So I'm gonna go in and look at this, added a new project, and that is Ryan. So I'm gonna go to profiles, go to Ryan, and Ryan shouldn't have a picture. So I'm just gonna pick one of these and then upload it. And now that it is successfully uploaded, I'm gonna refresh, and the picture should also be shown over here, and even here as well. All right, guys, so now when you look at this part, we have a lot of pending changes that we have to commit. So I'm gonna come here and then exit out of this shell. So I'm gonna come here and exit like this, And then I'm just gonna commit these changes. So I will do get status to see, and we have these files. Okay, so now we can do get add and then get commits, and then the message is gonna be displayed. The message is gonna be displayed profile picture. There's gonna be profile picture for notification actors or senders. All right, so now we can just clear our screen. Okay, so I'm also gonna be closing some of these things. I'm just gonna close the dashboard, the view account model. I'm just gonna leave that one open, and then okay, I'm also gonna close my terminal like this. Okay, so if you look at this part, we are having profile, and when you click on the profile, we are also seeing the profile pictures inside this. Now it's kind of hard to tell which profile picture belongs to which user. It's actually hard to tell, but we actually want to create a custom profile upload path so that inside the profile we could have the usernames of the individual users on our system, so that whoever do the upload is going to have the name here with a folder. You're going to have a folder with the name of the user, and when you click to open the username, the folder that contains the username is actually also going to open another folder, which is going to have the current time or the date. And then when you open that folder as well, you're also going to see the profile picture. So if I do upload today, it's going to be in a different folder, and when I do upload tomorrow, it's going to also be in a different folder, and all these folders with the date and everything is going to be in my profile, so in my username. Okay, so to do that, I'll have to open the accounts model, and by default you're actually uploading to the profile directory. That's why we have it here. So if I should change the name here, it's actually going to create a different name right here. That's where we're uploading. Okay, so at the very top, I'm just going to come here and then make a comment. So the comment, I'm just going to make a profile picture location. So this is a function we want to create to actually give us the profile or customize the profile picture. So I'm going to do def, and I'm going to call it profile image path location. So this is it, and it's actually going to take instance. Okay, so instance, and then it's actually also going to take another argument called file name. So we have this right here. All right, so at this point, what we want to do is to get the current, to get today's date, and to get today's dates, you have to import, make sure that these things are imported. So we have to import time zone and time delta. Okay, so now that we have imported these ones, what we are going to be doing is to, let me make another comment here and say get today's date. And the format of today's days we're gonna want is to have the year dash month dash the date. That's the format we want. Okay, so now that we have actually made our comments, the next thing we want to do at this point is to say today underscore date. You can make it anything you want, today's date, and it's gonna be equal to, we have datetime.now.strf time like this. Okay, and now we have to provide a format that we want. So the format is gonna be, we want the year, so we're gonna have percentage y dash, and we also want the month, so percentage m, and then the last one we want is percentage m like this, that, and then the last one we want is going to be the percentage, and then that is going to be d like that. Okay, this is actually going to provide the format like this. All right, so at this point we are now going to return. So let me make a comment and say return the upload path. So this is the part where we customize the upload location. And now we're going to return. So the return is going to be, so here, this is the part that we actually customize it. So we're going to still put everything inside the profile folder, and inside the profile folder, we're going to make another directory. So this is actually going to be a placeholder for what we are about to do. And then I'm going to repeat it 3 times, and then percentage s. So the first percentage s here is going to be the placeholder for the username, and then the next one is going to be the placeholder for today's date, and then the last is going to be the placeholder for the file name. And right after this, I'm going to do this and percentage, and then provide the arguments. Provide the arguments like this. So the first is going to be instance dot user name. So essentially this part is going to be replaced with instance.user.username. So it's going to get the profile, and then it's going to get the username right here. So you go into this folder, you're going to have profile right here, and inside the profile you're going to have the username of the person or the user that did the upload. And then the next argument is going to be the today's date, the date that we have actually provided over here. So inside the profile, we're going to have the username as a folder, and inside the username as a folder, we're going to also have a folder with the date of today's date, or the date that the person actually did the upload. And then the last one is going to be the argument you have provided over here. That is going to be the file name. All right, so that is all that we need to do. Right after this, I'm going to copy the upload path location, and where we have the profile as the upload location, I'm going to put this one right there, and let me make changes. And Python manager migrate. So now we write the changes to our database, and right after this, I'm going to check to see if my server is running, and it doesn't seem like anything is wrong yet. So I'm just going to come here, refresh my application, and I'm also going to go into the backend here, refresh, and inside the profile now, I'm just going to go as a Gentech, and I just want to upload a new profile picture. But before we even go ahead and do the upload, I just want you to have a look at this part. So you take a look at this part and come here. So here we're going to click on browse, and I'm going to pick this person as, okay, so this as my profile image, and I'm going to hit on save, and it says daytime is not defined. So let's rectify that. So here, let me import datetime like this. Datetime, import datetime. Okay, so right from here, I'm just gonna go and then refresh the page once again and resend, and now it seems like our profile picture has been uploaded successfully. So now if you come to this part, you are seeing Gentech, because we are saying that it should pick the name, the instant, the username. And when I open this folder, I'm supposed to see today's date. So I'm gonna click, and we are seeing a folder with today's date right here, and inside that folder, that is where we are getting our profile picture. So I'm just gonna go ahead again and then do that for hider for you to see. Click here, and then select a picture like this. Come here, and then save changes. Go back, and you're also going to see hider with the today's date, and then we have the picture right here. I could click and then view the pictures right here. Alright guys, so if you found this tutorial very helpful, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment in the comment section. Alright guys, welcome back. Okay, so everything seemed to be working just fine. So now I can safely refresh my application, and everything is working just fine the way we want it to work. But if I should come into the admin part and then try to log out like this, then come back to the main page and then refresh, then we get an error. And there's something that we have to fix. The reason why we're having the error is we have not set up authentication yet. And when you go into our notification app inside the model manager, our model manager dot for user is actually looking for a recipient, and the recipient we pass a user to it. But when you come into the accounts where we have the dashboard, let me go to where we have the accounts and then go into the views. All right, so at this part we are saying notification is going to be the notification.object for user, and then the user we are passing this time around is going to be the request.user. That means the person has to be authenticated. But here is a case that we have logged out and we are now trying to access this page. So the way we can fix it, we are going to do that in the future videos, where we are going to have a full chapter, a full part for authentication that is going to fix it. But to get around with the error at this part, what we are going to be doing is to come back here to the notification that is actually causing the errors. So I'm just going to cut the notification, come down to the context and then put it inside the context. This is not going to fix it. So we are still going to come back here and then cut this one, send it up here. And it's still not going to fix it. But what is going to fix it actually is to say that make an if condition. So we say if request. So we're going to first of all check to see .user.is underscore authenticated like this. So we push this one inside. Let's indent this one. So what we are essentially telling Django to do is that before it even goes ahead to process the notification, the general notifications here for that specific user, it should first of all check to see if the person is actually authenticated. If it is authenticated, it should go ahead and then show the notification. If not, it should ignore it. I think I should even move this one also inside. So like this, save changes, check to see if my server is running. All right, so the server is now running. So we have still not logged in, but now we can just come here and refresh and everything should be fixed. So it's not going to show the notification at all because we don't have notification going through. But if I should come back here and then log in with my credentials, Gentech, and then supply my password, it's actually going to go ahead, then come back here, refresh, and this notification should now come true because this time around the person is actually authenticated. That's perfect. All right, so let's go to the task of today. What we are going to be doing is to go back to our project models. So I'm going to go to projects, and inside the project models, we want to create a model manager. So by default, Django, like I said in the previous video, comes with a project manager. That's the object. So this object is going to allow us to make queries to the database. So that's why we're able to do the .or and all that. So here we also want to write our own complex queries, and we also want to make sure that these queries are available at any point in time, wherever on our application that we want to use them. We can just go to one single place and then call this function instead of rewriting the queries over and over. So to do that, I'm going to come down here into the project models right here, and I'm just going to define a class. So this class, I'm just going to call it project query set. Project query set. You can call it anything. Project query set like this, and it's actually going to take models dot then query set like this. Now that we have passed the query set to it, I just want to define active. So if I should come here, what we are essentially doing at this point is when we are showing the project, we are doing project.objects.or, and project.objects.or is actually picking every project we have in our database without any filter on it. So let me go back onto our dashboard, and now you are seeing that we have project due date and it's in negative. So a project that is in negative is a project that the due date has passed, and we don't want to show this kind of projects on our dashboard. So we only want to have a project that the due date is in the future, not in the past. So you're going to have project that we are currently working on, not project that we have actually worked on. And to do that, that is why we are doing the models manager. So I'm going to come here and define active. So def and say active. So that is a function that we want to work on. So we say pass self to it like that. And now that we have passed self, we're going to return, and the way we return it is going to be self that we have passed dot filter, filter, and filter, and we are going to filter to get the active one. So active is equal to true. We are getting this because if I should come into the model, we have active, and we are saying by default is going to be true. So by default, all projects are going to be active. So the way we get hold of active project is to filter for project that the active is set to true. So this is one of the query sets we have made, and we're also going to make another one called upcoming. So we say def upcoming like this, and it's going to take self. Okay, so the upcoming project is going to be the project that in the future. The due date is in the future. It can the due date could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be in the future. But then we are going to exclude all projects that the due date is in the past. That's why we are seeing these ones on the dashboard. The due date is negative, so we want to fix that. So to fix that, we're going to return, and what we are returning essentially is going to be self dot filter. So you're going to filter, and we are going to use the due date, which is a field right here. So I'm just going to copy the due date right here, and then I'm going to use double underscore and use GTE. So GTE, that will be greater than or equal to. So we want to get the due date that is greater than or equal to. Then we're going to say time zone dot now. So time zone dot now is actually going to give us the current time, the current day, the current time. So we need to now import time zone. I think we have already imported time zone here. So let me explain this part once more. So we are going to get all the project, but then we need to filter by the due date. So the due date is when the project is going to be due, and we use double underscore GTE, which is greater than or equal to. So we want to pick all projects that the due date is greater than or equal to now. So it's actually going to exclude all the projects in the past, and we pass the time zone dot now, which is going to give us the now time or date. All right, now that we have done this, we are done with our query set, and now we also want to define the model manager. So we define another class, and this class is going to be called project manager like that. And now that we have project manager, it's also going to inherit from models that manager like this. Okay, so now that we have had a models that manager or the query, the project manager like this, we now want to define the get query set, get underscore query set like this. So we want to override the base query set, and to do that we pass self here. And now that we have passed self, we're going to return. So what we're going to be returning is the query set class we have defined over here. And now we need to supply some arguments. So the first is going to be self.model. So the next is going to be using, and we're going to say self.underscore db like that. Okay, so the next one we also want to override is the all function. So we need to override the all method or the all function. So here we are doing on the dashboard, we are doing project.objects.all, and we are getting the first 5. So all, if I should exclude the first 5, it's actually going to get everything inside of our database. But what we essentially want to be doing is wherever we call projects.objects.all, the .all is going to filter to remove project that the due date has passed. Okay, so we need to override the all. So we say def all, and we pass self to it like this. And now that we have passed self, we're going to return. And what we are returning is going to be self dot and get query set. So we have the get query set right here. Okay, so after we have gotten the query set, we also need to filter to get the active one. So we are now getting get query set, which is this. then we need to filter to get the active one. So the active is also here. So dot active. And after we have gotten the active ones, it's going to give us all the projects in our database that are active. And that's not what we want. So we want to do another filter, and that is going to be upcoming. So now you see upcoming come up here. So the upcoming, essentially, like we said, is also going to give us the project that the due date is in the future. And now that we have done this, we could now come back here, copy the project manager like this, come and then add it as object, and is equal to project manager like this. We can do anything here. I can even do ABC, but if I should do ABC here, then to get hold of these methods, when I go into the views and I want to access those methods, I should do project.abc instead of object. But then I want to add them to the Django's project manager. So that's why I use the object, which is something used by Django. And then we add our own project manager that is actually adding onto it the ones that we have overwritten right here. So now I can just save changes and then come to the page here and then refresh. And hopefully, if everything should works, these ones should be taken out of the table. So I'm just gonna refresh, and now it is empty. So if I should come back here and comment out this and then go back and check to see if my server is running, go back to the page and then refresh, it's gonna come back again. So that means our model manager is actually working. Perfect. All right, so now that we have done this, let's copy everything from here to this part and go back into our task. So the task is sharing almost the same model as our project. So I'm gonna come to the top here and then paste the query set and then the model manager. So just here, I'm just gonna make changes to this one. So here, I'm just gonna make a task query set and then copy task query set and bring it here. Right after that, I'm also gonna rename this one to task manager. And now task manager, we have to add it to the model like this and say objects is equal to task manager like that. Save changes, go back to our dashboard, and now you are seeing that these tasks are in the past. So if I should refresh, they are also going to be gone. All right, now I want to go onto the dashboard here, and then some of the projects that are actually in the past, like create Swift Hub. I'm just gonna go and then make it the due date, make it today. Save changes, go back to one of the tasks here, buy a domain, and then the due date, I'm gonna make it either today or even tomorrow. That is 29. Save changes. Now, if I should refresh the page, you're gonna have to get one task, one project here, and then one task here. So let me do the refresh, and there you have it. Create Swift Hub, and I'm not seeing this task. Okay, let me go to the task here and then see what is happening. So create a logo. It's gonna be okay. Let me check today. Buy a domain, and it's here. So let me change it to tomorrow. All right, so now we have it. All right, so the reason why it wasn't actually working was because I was still giving a date in the past. That's why it was actually filtering it out. All right, so now I'm just gonna be closing some of these things because I don't need them for what we are about to do. And what we're going to be doing right now is to create Teams app. So we want to assign the responsibility of a project to a team. So when we create a project, you're going to assign it a team to work on that particular project. So I'm just going to bring up my terminal and switch to the empty one like this. And now we're going to need to create a team. So we use the command Python money.py start app app, and the name of the app is going to be Teams like this. So we wait for teams to be created, and I think it has been created. Okay, so now we have teams here. Now I can close my terminal like this. And then now I'm just gonna go into Swift app and into the settings. I need to bring a comma here and then say teams. So now Django is now aware of this particular app. So now I can just go back into the teams model here and then close my settings like this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna come down here and then say class, and then the name of the class is gonna be team. So that is a team we are now creating. So we're gonna have models dot model. So that is what it is actually inheriting. And now our team is supposed to have a name. So we're gonna say name, and it's gonna be models dot car field, and then we provide it max underscore length. Max underscore length is gonna be 255, and we also gonna say unique. Unique is equal to true. So what we essentially doing is we don't want two teams to have the same name. Perfect. So from there, we're also gonna say description like this, and then the description is actually also gonna be inheriting from. So it's gonna be models dots, and this time around we're gonna go for text field like this. And we also want to accept null. So by default, we can create a team without a description. So null is equal to true. Sorry about that. Null is equal to true here, and blank is also gonna be equal to true right here. All right, perfect. From there, we're also gonna have a team lead. So a team is gonna be headed by a team lead. So we're gonna have team underscore lead, and the team lead is also gonna be models dot. This time around, it's gonna be a foreign key like this, and it's gonna be pointing to the user model. Okay, so now we need to import the user model. So we're gonna say from django.contrib.auth.models. We're gonna import, and now we are importing user like that. Now that we have imported user, we can now go ahead and then build on that field. So we're gonna say related underscore name, and the related name is gonna be when we get a user. We can now do user. Suppose we have user one, so we can do user one dot and dot teams, and it's gonna be, or it's gonna return the number of teams or all the teams that this particular user is actually leading. So we're gonna have teams underscore lead, and I'm just trying to make it more descriptive. So that is gonna return all the teams that the person is leading. And on delete, so when a team member or the team lead is deleted, we're gonna have models or cascade. We're gonna have models dot cascade like this. Okay, now we also want to add another field, and that's gonna be members, one of the most important fields, because a team is supposed to have members, and that is gonna be models dot many to many field. So it's gonna actually accept not just one person but a lot of people. So we're going to have the many to many field, and that is going to be pointing to the user model like that. And after this, we can also say related underscore name, and it's going to be teams like that. Okay, so if you get a user, you can do that user dot teams, and you're going to get, oh, okay. So here we also want to add some audit fields. That is going to be when the team, like who actually created the team. So created at, and that is going to be model. So I can just come here and copy the one for the team lead right here and paste it here. And that is going to be created by, not created, oh, sorry. That's going to be created by, so created by, so who actually created it. And it's also going to be pointing to the user model. The related name is going to be created teams, created underscore teams. So for each user you get, you can do that user dot created teams, and it's gonna give you all the teams that this person has actually created. And the last one is gonna be created at. So that is when the team was created. So that's gonna be models dot, and it's gonna be date time field. And now we're gonna pass this auto now add is gonna be true. So the moment we create a team, we're gonna add a date for that. Okay, now that we have done this, we're gonna define the danda str. So we say def underscore underscore str, and now it's gonna return self dot name. So now we can save changes and then bring my terminal here and make migration. So we say python manage.py make migrations like this, and it's gonna go ahead and then write the migration. And now we can say python money.py, and we want to write the changes to the database. So migrate like this, and we wait for it to migrate. Okay, so now I can just hide my terminal, come back here and copy the thing. So now that we have copied it, I'm gonna go into the admin.py, and here I'm just gonna say from .models import, and we're gonna import team, the one that we copied. And now we need to register the team on the admin dashboard. So you say admin the site dot register, and we're gonna say register the team. So I'm gonna save changes here, check to see my terminal if everything is running, and now I could go onto the dashboard, refresh, and hopefully we should see teams, and teams get registered over here. So let's go ahead and add some few teams. So I'm gonna have a team called Python team, and I'm gonna say team for handling maybe Python project, Python, just like this. And then the team lead is gonna be maybe Ryan, and then the members is gonna be this and that. And here I'm just gonna created by is gonna be myself and save changes. So now we have one team here. All right, guys, so welcome back. Now, like we said previously, we want to assign the responsibility of a project to a team. That's why we created a Teams app. So I'm just going to close this and close that. And then I'm going to go into project here and into the project model. So we actually want to come here under the project ID, or it could be anywhere. And then we're going to add a team. So before we can add a team, we need to import a team. So we could come here and say from teams.models imports, and now we're gonna import team like this. Okay, so now that we have imported team, I can just copy it and then come to where we are adding the field and say team is equal to, and it's gonna be equal to models the foreign key like this. And now it's gonna be pointing to the team up. Okay, so we're gonna give it a related name, and then the related name is gonna be project. In the moment we query for a team, let's say Python team, so we could do Python team.project, and that's gonna give us all the project the Python team is working on. And then the next thing is gonna be when a team is deleted. So we say on delete, we're gonna do models.cascade like this. All right, so now we can just save changes and make migration, but at this point we need to add a default to it. We're probably gonna run into an error when we try to make migrations without the default. Let's save changes and then try and see. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and say python money.py make migrations, and it's actually telling us to add a default value. So that is what I was talking about. It's actually not an error, but it's going to tell us to add a default value. So I could add a default value here. I could also go to the model and then add the default value. Let me show you how to do that on the model. So I'm just going to come to where we have the team and bring a comma and do default. And the default is going to be the person or the team that you want to assign the ID to. You want to assign projects to. The reason why we are getting it is because we already have some projects inside of our database. And now we are saying that each project is supposed to have a team assigned to it. And then the team field is not optional, it's compulsory. That means each project inside of our database should be assigned a team before we can make the migration. And now I'm just going to go into our project and look for the ID of one of the teams. And now we are seeing that Python team has an ID of 1. So I'm going to make default is equal to 1. So all the projects, all existing projects inside of our database is going to be assigned to the Python team by default. So now we can make migration. Python manager.py make migrations. And we can make migrations in general like this. That is going to go ahead and scan for all apps in our project and look for the ones that need migration. Or we can just make migrations and then bring the particular app that is a project and then try to make a migration like this. And this is very efficient because we know that it's only the project app that we have actually made changes to, and we don't need to scan through all our entire apps and then look for the one that need migration. This can be straightforward and make migrations. And now we can say Python money.py migrate, and we're gonna migrate the projects like this, wait for it to be migrated. Now the changes have been saved into our database. We can go back into our database and then verify by going into projects and then look for some of the projects. So here we have teams on this particular project, and it's now assigned to the Python team. And for all the projects that we have, they are all going to be assigned to the Python team by default. All right, one thing that I don't want to do is to leave the default on. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear it. I did that just because I wanted to assign these ones by default. Now that it has been assigned, I don't want to have a default team on this. So Python main.py make migrations again, make migrations, migrations, and I'm going to make migrations on the project. Command oh, sorry about that. That is a wrong spelling. Migrations. And I'm still gonna do Python money.py migrate, and we're gonna migrate project just up like this. Fine. So now everything should be working just fine. All right. So now that we have done this, we're gonna go into our template, the dashboard template right here. And then when we come into the dashboard template, I'm just going to look for latest project like this. And inside the latest project, okay, so latest projects, I'm going to go up a bit. Latest projects, okay, latest projects here. Okay, so here we have the latest project, and where we have the latest project, we also have a start date. Now I'm just gonna comment the start date out. You can just leave it, but then instead of the start date, I'm just gonna replace the start date with teams here. Team, or the team that is gonna be handling that particular project. And from there, now that I have changed the start date to teams, I should also come here, and where we have start date, I'm just gonna make it task. Oh, so now we are actually working on even on the task. So let's do it because we're gonna have it show on the task and on the teams, on the task and on the project as well. And here I would also come. So I would also come here, and then I'll have to do task.project, because when you come into the task model, let me show you how it is done. Inside the task model, we don't have access to a team, so we can do task.project, and it's just gonna drop us into the project model. And inside the project model, we have team, so we can now do task.project and team dot name because a team is having a name. So I'm just gonna copy this and look for where we have the latest projects. Okay, it's because we have actually collapsed the latest project here. So latest project, and where we have the start date, I'm just gonna do this and then the team. And then I'm just gonna scroll down and sorry, where we have the project dot start date, I'm gonna do project dot, and instead of doing project dot project like we did with the task, we're gonna do project dot team here, because now when you come to the teams, the project, and let me go to the projects. When you come to the project model, we have team. So project dot team dot, then we're gonna get the name of the team dot name like this. Let's save changes to everything that we have modified. We have actually saved changes to all. And now when I come here and refresh, this is supposed to change to teams and this part as well. So save changes. And now we are seeing latest task is having a Python team working on it. And then the latest project is also having a Python team working on that. One key thing you have to take note is how we were able to come by, or how we were able to get a name or query for the name of the team. On projects, we did project.team.name, but on task, you cannot do project task.team.name because the task model does not have a team, and we have to go through the parent, or we have to go through the project like this. That's what we did for the task. We did task.project because now we are going through the project app.team.name. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a comment in the comment section. All right, guys. So now let's check on our dashboard. Everything seems to be working. But what we want to be doing at this point is to address this forecast here. So I'm just gonna go into here. We are having CPU traffic, but the CPU traffic is something that we want to replace with projects. So I'm gonna scroll up here, and where we have CPU traffic, I'm just gonna put project over there. So we have projects like this, and also it is actually showing this icon, and we also wanna change it to copy like that. Let me save changes, go back here, and this one is going to be changed to project, and then the icon is also going to be changed. All right, perfect. That is what we want. For the numbers, we are just going to be dealing with them after we have worked on the backend stuff. From here, we're also going to scroll down. Now that we have project, we also want to have task to display all the tasks here. Task, and then the icon for the task, we're gonna do, instead of thumbs up, we're gonna do task like that. Then we're also gonna scroll down, and then the next one is gonna be teams. So here we want to show teams here. We want to show the total number of teams we have on our system, and instead of showing shopping cart is coming from here, we're gonna show users like this. Then we scroll down to the last one, and then the last one is gonna be the members. It's actually showing new members. We're gonna do it to members. We're gonna have all the members that are coming from the team. So this one is showing teams. These are the total number of teams we are directly working on, but these are gonna be the members, the total number of people or members from this particular teams. And okay, so now we are gonna be showing. They are now showing users plus. Okay, we can just leave it like that, or we can do FA users, so that will be like a group, but it's actually gonna have the same thing like what we have for the members. So I'm gonna change it and make it user dash plus. So I'll come back and then refresh the page like this, and now we are seeing projects, task, teams, and then members like this. All right, so now we go back into our views and then make some modifications to reflect this. So I'm just gonna go into the accounts, and then open this one. So now we need to import the following. So we are first of all going to import profile. So profile is already here. We need to import teams. So I'm going to say from teams.models import, and we are importing team like this. All right, so now that we have all of them imported, I will come here and then say, okay, so now that we have them over here, so I'm just gonna go here and then cut this one out. So where we are listing the latest project, I'm just gonna cut this one out so that we can have project.objects.all. But then when we come to the context, I'm just gonna put it right here. And I'm just gonna do the same thing for the task. Cut it, come to latest task, put it here. And then I'm also gonna do that for the latest members. So I'm gonna cut it and come to latest members and then put them here. The reason why we are doing that is we want to get the total number of tasks, the total number of projects, the total number of teams. But if we should put that slicing on this over here and we do latest projects dot count, it's just gonna give us the number that we have sliced over here. That's not what we want. So now that we are here, I'm just gonna come to the latest project, copy this context, and then paste it over here. So I'm gonna have latest projects count underscore count like this, and it's gonna be latest projects dot count like that. I'm also gonna do the same thing for latest task, copy it and then paste it over here. And now we're gonna make it latest task underscore count like that. And I'm just gonna put the count over here, count like this. All right, so we are also going to display the latest teams and then the latest teams. Okay, so we also have the latest members here. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it over here, and this say, and then so latest members count, latest member count, and it's gonna be on the latest members, but we do dot count like that. All right, the last one we're gonna be doing is just gonna be on the teams. So the teams is actually gonna be pasted over here, and we say teams or team underscore count. And for now, we are just going to pick all the teams on the system. But as we progress, we're just going to be picking all the teams that we are being assigned to or we are members of. So I'm just going to come here and then say teams dot objects dot all dot count like this. I believe I can even do teams.objects.count. I think I can do that. Let me see. And then save changes. Now that we have done this, we're going to have to copy all these contests and then bring them on the dashboard. So I'm going to come to the dashboard and go to the very top where we are displaying the total number of teams. So I'm just going to come here, total number of projects, and then where we have the project count, I'm just gonna come here and then take this one out like that, and now we are left at 10. So I'm just gonna wrap this one like this and then say put this one over here. Then I'm just gonna copy it, scroll down to where we have task, and then I'm just gonna replace everything right here like this, push it over here. But then I have to copy the corresponding count from the backend and then paste it over here. Let's scroll down to where we have members. So I'm just gonna go here and then copy latest members count, come to the dashboard, and then try to replace these ones over here. Finally, we're gonna also want to get the team count, copy it, come to the dashboard, and where we have, so we have members, we're gonna wrap it like this and then say team underscore count. So I'm just gonna scroll through to see if everything is okay, and now looks like everything is okay. I'm gonna save changes and then come back to the page and then refresh. So we are getting teams is not defined. It's team, not team. So let's go into our views and see where we have. So teams, that's where the error is coming from. I'm gonna save changes, see if the terminal is run. Okay, I'm gonna save changes and then come back here and then refresh. And now we are seeing project. Project is one, task is one. And that's because when you come to the dashboard here, we are seeing project, only one project, even though we have more projects in our database, but our custom model manager we define is actually filtering all the projects that are in the past out. So if I should come here and come to project and add this project to it, so this one is actually in 2024. I'm just gonna make it either today or select a date. Let me make it today. Save changes, come to Suite Hub. When I refresh now, this is gonna be increased to 2 and also gonna have this one increased to 2. All right, so now we have 2 projects and then 2 projects down here. All right, guys, bye bye for now.